Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. It's Friday, September 16th. I'm your host, Lex.
I'm your other host, Dan. We are a weekly video game news podcast, broadcast here on Chip It Radio every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. We chat live with you on the show as well.
Oh, on Chip It. You can go to that chat tab.
ChipIt.net. Go to the chat tab. We're in there right now. I just typed "We're live" with like a ton of exclamation points. I'm really excited to be here.
We're also broadcasting live on Twitch.
And why are we on Twitch? Because our Patreon is making some money.
Oh, man.
And we love it if you would also Patreonize us.
Patronize. I think it's just patronize.
I'm trying to find a nice way to... I'm trying to flow our, plugs here.
But yeah, you can check us out on there. We have all sorts of great reward tiers. You can suggest stories for us to talk about every week.
That is correct.
You can get bonus content every month that we do where we talk about movies and TV shows and stuff. Yeah. And you can help us achieve different milestones that that allow us to expand the content that we're doing. So we recently reached the milestone where we get to have a Twitch channel, so that's why we got a Twitch channel.
We're going to start broadcasting more stuff on there, including our inaugural gaming night on Twitch for us.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
It's going to be tomorrow night. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show, though. We'll throw that out there.
I mean, I even made these sweet graphics for our Twitch
broadcast.
Oh my god,
look how good it looks!
It's so clean.
It's so sharp.
It's actually not very high resolution.
No, we could probably zazz them up, but they're good.
Yeah. But yeah, so we can also be found on a bunch of other social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, Steam, YouTube, and iTunes.
That's correct. You can leave us reviews on iTunes.
That would be awesome. Rate and review. You can also...
How many reviews do you even have on there right now?
We have 3. It's fine.
Oh, still? Rejecting a long
One
time.
of them might be from me. One of them might be from you.
Man, we gotta get more people on there.
One of them is from someone we guilted into making a review. But no, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. And you can follow us on Twitch. Our Twitch, let me tell you something real quick. Or not our Twitch, I'm sorry. You can follow us on Twitch, but you can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter, let me tell you real quick. At the beginning of last week, we were at 24 Twitter followers because I barely ever used it. Now we are at 132 Twitter followers.
Oh my god, you're a hero.
I've been working at it.
That's fantastic.
It's great.
We're moving up in the world.
People actually... Oh, I should have tweeted that we're broadcasting.
Yeah, what the hell?
What a fool I am. I got wrapped up in all the other stuff we're doing.
It's fine. They're already following us, so they don't need to hear our spiel about where you can follow us and stuff. So it's good. What are we talking about? What are we talking about this week? There's some stuff out there that we're talking about.
Oh my gosh, TGS happened, and we got all sorts of fun announcements from that. We got Death Stranding announcements.
A ton of crazy stuff out of TGS.
But there's some good
stuff.
Yeah.
So there's some release dates.
Yeah.
At least.
So we got Death Stranding news. We got Last Guardian news.
That's right.
Maybe not so good Last Guardian news. Yeah. Some Final Fantasy news, I think, came out of that, right?
Nintendo NX. Conspicuously absent.
Yeah. Oh, Resident Evil 7. We got a trailer from that. And what were some of the other things?
FF15 trailer also.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 15. Mm-hmm. That's I watched and it's kind of interesting. So other than that, we got a little bit of news about Pokemans. Got a little bit of news about Valve and some of our favorite developers, Digital Homicide.
Oh, the best. That was breaking news.
Guys. We love those guys almost as much as we love Randy Pitchford.
We do. We've got to bring back our segment of what's happening with the Digital Homicide's GoFundMe page.
Then we have a little story about Sony and No Man's Sky, which I guess was hot in the news. It's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. No one's really talking about it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, most of what's there to be said has been said. And then a fond farewell to a very important Blizzard employee. And he didn't die.
He didn't.
I'll clarify that, but we'll talk about that at the end of the show. He's not dead, don't worry. I realized that sounded pretty bad. So yeah, TGS happened. Or is happening. They did all the, reveals for, press and stuff. But I believe it's not open to the public until tomorrow and Sunday. Because the dates on their website are the 17th and the 18th. So, they've been showing stuff already. And press has been able to play demos and all that junk. TGS usually shows off some cool stuff. because it's it's in Tokyo. They make a lot of games over there in Japan.
Do they? Is that a thing?
And they do make a lot of games, very different games compared to what you get from the West, and a lot of fairly unique titles, or just you get a different pastiche stuff, including things like Death Stranding.
Death Stranding
by Kojima Productions. So we got this trailer for Death Stranding at it was at E3, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got the trailer for Death Stranding at E3 this year. And everyone said, "What's Death Stranding about? What's this game?
Who is Norman Fetus?
Who is Norman Fetus? Oh my god.
Oh, zooming.
IGN, you don't zoom too good."
Jack gets a little confused.
Who is Norman Fetus? Norman Reedus and Norman Fetus together at last? What could this mean? The tabloids went crazy. So now we finally, though, and Mads Mikkelsen was maybe in it? Is he playing Norman Fetus? I don't know.
He better be.
He's sure.
Is he playing Player 2?
Oh! Because as you can see from this headline, Death Stranding will be open world and have co-op. They finally decided on an engine.
Now
if they finally decide on an engine, this implies this game's still quite a ways off.
Oh, yeah.
So, they're just not like, we know what engine we're building it on now.
I think it's interesting that they made the whole trailer without knowing what engine they were building it in.
It's Hideo Kojima. Did you see their production company logo video?
Oh, he loves it. He's so cinematic.
So yes, details. So there's obviously not a whole lot.
Oh, he was super cryptic. I mean, that's what it says in the article.
The title was inspired by whales and dolphins who sometimes get stranded on the beach. So you see a beached whale, make a video game about it.
Yeah. The title, and this is a quote, the title is about something from another world stranded on our world.
Okay.
Space whales.
So space whales or ghosts. It could be from a ghost world.
Oh my god.
We don't know. Like the movie Ghost World.
I don't think it's like that. I'm pretty sure that's
I don't think I've ever actually seen that movie.
It's not like this.
Okay. Like Beetlejuice?
Yeah, more like Beetlejuice.
So it's going to be an open world game with a lot of player freedom, and we'll have co-op as a feature. This kind of baffles me. Because when I looked at that trailer, I expected more cinematic story experience with like a thriller kind of story, maybe.
But no, it's open world.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's real weird.
I don't know what, huh?
Kojima threw us a curveball, surprising no one.
So he says he wants to prove that indie studios can produce AAA world-class masterpieces.
Okay, that's a misleading statement. Because yes, he is an indie studio, but he has so much money behind him. He's not like the studio that made Shovel Knight.
And he has crazy connections. He's no Yacht Club Games.
Yeah, he's
like pulling a magic rabbit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They made a good video game.
Yeah. But no, it's not. He shouldn't try to like make himself sound like he's one of those studios. He's not.
You shouldn't frame Koji Pro as an independent developer. I mean, they are, like you said, they are, but it's not like Fez.
I mean, it's the same thing as saying like that, and I forget what the company's called, but Cliffy B's new game company is an indie studio.
I was going to say
really.
Blue Streak, but that's the name of the game they were making.
Yeah, who cares?
Bosky?
Oh, it is Bosky.
Bosky, yep. That's what it is. And now everyone can tell that I didn't have to look it up on the computer. Because you can see.
You used your own mind.
In addition to Death Stranding, we have The Last Guardian, which, as you can see from this headline, getting a delay. Another delay.
It's
coming out on December 6th now. Unfortunate, but if we waited this long...
Wait, so did we report on this last week? I can't remember. I think
no.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we did. I don't believe so.
Because this news kind of broke, like, kind of in between.
Yeah, in between. I do not think we reported on this. No, we reported on something else that was getting delayed by a couple months. It was Final Fantasy 15.
Probably.
Yeah, because that was getting pushed from September to November, and then this is getting pushed from October to December.
Yeah.
So, Last Guardian's been in development since 2007. It's been in development for 9 years, People thought it was gone until in 2015 it showed up with a 2016 release date. This year they said it would be October 25th. Now it's December 6th. Do you think it's going to come out?
No.
You don't think it's going to come out December 6th?
For one thing, I'm going to say right now, I freaking told you it was going to get delayed.
I want to believe.
I mean, it's probably going to come out eventually. I wouldn't actually be surprised if it got delayed again.
Yeah.
But, like...
Fumito Ueda, the director and general designer of the game, said that he is looking forward to revealing new content towards launch.
Wow, new content?
Why can I never stop yawning? I gotta do something about this. How do you stop yawning?
Oh, God. Adrenaline? Do we need to go buy some adrenaline?
Pulp Fiction it?
We need to go get some drugs. Dan needs some drugs right now.
The Last Guardian is coming out. Just eventually.
Just late, but there's other...
It's just like Doom Forever, but there's other news about it. Although, I don't know if this is news.
It's opinion.
It's an opinion piece.
But, here's the thing. Okay, so there's been opinion pieces. We're going to cite one from Polygon from September 15th.
Right here.
These are from people that played Last Guardian at
TGS.
This
year's TGS.
So just earlier this week. But... it's not... The reason why I first found out about the story is not just because Polygon was doing it, because multiple news outlets are doing this. And This is a very common criticism that almost all the outlets are giving to this game.
Okay.
So basically, they're saying, hey, I got to play Last Guardian at TGS, and I am concerned.
Yes.
I think that is the title of the article. Yeah, after a half an hour with The Last Guardian, I'm concerned.
Yes.
And they cite a few things that were not so great about that game. Things like the controls were not really all that great. Movement was very jerky. However, that's kind of how Ico and Shadow of the Colossus played too.
Right.
So that's sort of what I expected. I was still hoping to not have to deal with that, but I kind of expected it. But the other thing they were talking about is the AI for the beast.
Yes.
That's hanging out with you. What was its name again?
Trico.
That's
what they're calling him.
The dog bird chimera type creature.
Yes.
Will apparently just really wants to do its own thing. All the time. So getting it to waiting around to try and get it to interact with you is a pain in the butt. One of the things that's been said is, hey, maybe what we were playing was an early part of the game, and there's a mechanic...
he just doesn't listen that much.
Yeah, and there's a mechanic where the farther you get in and the more you interact with him...
Given how game mechanics evolve and change over the course of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, I would assume that is the case.
Yeah. Because
both of those games have elements in them that gradually shift as you progress through the story. Shadow of the Colossus, in particular, I think has the very noticeable effect of your character degrading as time goes on and getting just more and more haggard looking. Mm-hmm. So there's simple things like that, but from a gameplay perspective, there maybe isn't as much in either Ico or Shadow of the Colossus, but this game could be bringing that side to it.
Yeah.
Of also you are going to get to know this creature over the course of the game. He's going to get to know you, and then your bond will be deeper, and controlling him will be more intuitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt for that, at least, knowing the other games that Ueda has put out. Mm-hmm. The other thing that this writer says is that the game feels like a PlayStation 2 game. He goes on to say, I love a lot of PS2 games, but a decade plus since that was my console of choice.
Stop yawning, Dan.
I can't. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm doing it every 30 seconds. He's grown used to such novelties as responsive character movement and a camera that isn't shitty.
No, that's the other thing that a lot of people cite, is the camera is garbage in this game.
Now, I'm going to say something that's my opinion.
Okay.
And my opinion is that a lot of people who play video games are bad at controlling cameras. Because I have played tens upon tens, maybe even over 100 games over the course of my gaming career.
Oh, you played way over 100 games.
But specifically, that people have said had bad cameras.
Okay.
I could probably count on two hands the number of times I've played a game that I actually felt had a bad camera. A camera that could not be worked with.
How many fingers do these hands have?
These hands have 10 fingers. That doesn't make sense. 10 fingers total.
Oh.
You know what I mean. I'm really good at video games, is what I'm saying.
Well, you've got all those extra fingers from all that extra finger dexterity.
But regardless, what I mean to say is I've played a ton of video games, and I've played a ton of video games that have been criticized for having poor camera controls, or just poor functioning cameras in general, and I almost never have a problem with the game's camera once I get used to it. That was true of Ico, that was true of Shadow of the Colossus, it's true of Monster Hunter, it's true of Bloodborne and Dark Souls in some cases, and those ones baffle me because people complained about camera problems in Bloodborne, and like you control the camera with a joystick in that game.
Yeah.
So Wonderful 101 is another perfect example. People complaining about camera controls. It's like you just have to learn to work with them. I feel like it's a bad criticism most of the time because I feel like it just shows a lack of willingness or ability to adapt to the game's playstyle. Mm-hmm. And the way the game's camera is set up. Which is not to say there are no games that have bad cameras. There are absolutely games that have bad cameras. I just think they're way fewer and further between than most. So I feel like I don't believe this person when they say that the camera in this game is bad. And I don't necessarily believe any game journalists when they say that. I need to have the game in my hands to give an opinion on that.
Okay.
And your mileage may vary. Maybe most people just don't get used to shitty cameras as well as I do. But I just personally don't feel like it's really that big of an issue in gaming.
Yeah, in terms of games where you got to control the camera, I mean, I had a little bit of trouble with RE4 when I first was playing it, but I eventually got used to it.
Well, RE4 is just over the shoulder.
So yeah, but don't you manipulate it a little bit?
Do you?
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played that game.
I think it's stuck to your character's shoulder in that, unless there's a version of it. Because there's so many versions of that game that there very well
that's true.
That's not the case. I've only played the GameCube one.
Oh, that wasn't the one I was playing since I never had a GameCube.
Yeah, I played the original version.
Whoa, well.
I'm not saying that because I'm trying to sound like a cool guy. I'm just saying that's the only version I played, so if they changed or improved it later, I don't friggin' know about it. Played that game with all 10 of my hand fingers.
I was gonna make a joke about how the N64 controller would be no problem for you, but then I realized it's not how many fingers you'd have, it's how many hands you'd have for the controller.
Yeah, that's still a problem.
You need 3 hands.
There are some N64 games I've played that I think have legitimately bad cameras. But not all of them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But yeah, so a lot of critics are concerned. I think their criticism about the game feeling like it belongs on an earlier generation of console kind of makes sense since the game was originally
developed for PS3.
Yeah, I kind of it probably should have been on earlier.
They may not have been able to change. They may have had to tear down the whole freaking thing to remove that feeling.
Yeah,
from it, which is pretty unreasonable when it's already been in development for 9 years. Because people, I feel like this is dangerously close to being compared to like a Duke Nukem Forever situation, where now we're hitting the point where it's finally coming out. We know it's coming out, and people are now concerned that it's not going to live up to the hype.
Oof.
But the hype, I don't know how many people. I'm assuming most people who are really excited for this have played Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
And if you've played those games, I feel like you should know exactly what to expect from this game.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be super long.
Nope.
It's probably going to be very simplistic in a lot of ways, and it's probably going to make you cry.
Yes.
And be weirdly, hauntingly beautiful.
That dog bird is definitely going to die at the end.
Or the kid is. Or both of them are.
There's no way that one of them isn't going to die at the end.
But that's all there is to this game.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. And I don't know what other people's expectations might be.
I think, expectations have definitely grown.
Because of the time that it's taken.
Definitely.
If this game had been like, oh, it's announced, and then a year and a half later it came out, it would have been like, yeah, there it is, Last Guardian, awesome. But it's been 9 years. So now people are it's gonna get Duke Nukem Forever. People are gonna be like, oh, but it's it was in development for 9 years. Shouldn't it be better than this? It's like, well, you don't know the trials and tribulations of its development.
True.
So no?
Well,
Maybe it shouldn't be better than that.
It also makes me really concerned for the studio, because this kind of creates a no-win scenario for them.
Well, Fumito Ueda's no longer with Sony anyway.
Oh, I thought he was still working on this game.
Well, he's working on this game, but then he's already technically left the company.
Oh.
He's under contract to finish Last Guardian with them. But then he's gone.
He's gone. Oh, then maybe he doesn't have to worry about it, but I was just thinking that the studio, because they didn't release the game quickly enough, now they have all this hype, so now they not only do not have a game library from the last 9 years,
yes,
but also, because they can't live up to this hype, there's no way people will like this game as much as they should.
Yeah. But is that fair?
No, it's not fair.
Okay.
But I'm just saying it hurts the studio either way.
Yeah. Because I think it's super unfair.
Oh,
because you see right here in the article, times and expectations have changed considerably. A game taking longer to come out shouldn't change your expectation of that game's quality. And I guess we talk about this a lot of the game's getting delayed, but that's good because that means it'll be better. But when I say that, I think we both say that, we mean it'll be less glitchy.
Or it'll have more content.
It'll be fixed up.
Yeah.
But even not necessarily more content. Always. I mean, it depends on the title. This game, I'm they're not delaying this to add more content to this game.
That's not what's
This game is what it is.
But if it was GTA 5...
Yeah.
Then
maybe.
Then probably, sure.
Something like that.
And if it was a Blizzard game, that's usually what I think of with a Blizzard game, because they get delayed a lot.
But not Call of Duty or things like that. Those are going to have what they're going to have.
Yeah.
And I think this is another case like that. A Zelda game doesn't get delayed because they decided to put another dungeon into it at the last minute. A Zelda game gets delayed because Link's face keeps falling off. And that's the same with this. The boy is melting. That's why they delayed the game. They need to fix him and form him into a human shape again. Metaphorically speaking. I'm still really excited for Last Guardian. Based on how much I love the other two games that Fumito Ueda has put out, I think I'm going to adore this one as well. And I just hope that it doesn't get really harshly criticized on release for not living up to whatever ridiculous expectations certain people may have for it.
This actually segues really nicely into a different story we have with talking about expectations.
Oh, should we just jump right to that one?
Yeah, I think
it's probably a good idea, because you're totally right.
So there was another game that came out recently that
had some pretty high expectations.
Sky high expectations, you might say.
Sky high expectations that perhaps no man could have delivered on.
Exactly.
Oh my god, we just killed that.
So this is an article from Polygon from today, September 16th, entitled Sony Exec Criticizes Hello Games' Marketing for No Man's Sky.
I saw this title of this article and immediately was just like, oh lordy, what's this gonna get into? And here's what it got into. Shuhei Yoshida, which you may know as president of... who you may know as president of Sony's Worldwide Studios, did an interview with Eurogamer and said that he really enjoyed what he played of No Man's Sky, but he feels for these players who are disappointed with it. He then goes on to say he understands some of the criticisms that especially Sean Murray is getting, because he sounded like he was promising more features in the game from day one. He was referring there to Hello Games studio head Sean Murray, who was the public face of the game. He said that he appreciated their big day one patch to make good on their promises, but believes that the developers' promo plan for the game didn't serve them well because of the incredible unsustainable amount of hype that it built up. He blamed it being, he said, they're an indie team, so, they don't know how to market the game appropriately. They should have had a PR apparatus of some kind on hand for guidance. But, they're just an indie studio, so, they couldn't have known that they were going to overhype people for it so much. That's why Sony put it at the forefront of all of its shows for the last 2 years.
Exactly. If only there had been just a large parent company who could have provided PR help and steered them in the right direction.
Yeah, and not shown it off like it was the next coming of Christ. Wouldn't it have been crazy if a company hadn't done that?
Yeah. That's nuts,
So, the hypocrisy in this is pretty blatant.
It's palpable.
It's palpable. I don't know if this is because it's Shuhei Yoshida and he's like worldwide president, and that the people in like Sony USA were the ones doing these big marketing pushes.
Maybe.
More likely, so he wasn't quite as in touch with the fact that it was Sony doing a lot of this. Because he says this stuff and I'm like, there's no way Hello Games were the ones who, like... I don't know what he's talking about. When did Sean Murray promise all these ridiculous features?
Sean Murray said, hey, listen, we're going to procedurally generate you a galaxy.
Yeah.
And the game does that.
And it's an indie game.
Yeah.
We knew that from the beginning. But Sony marketed it like it was a AAA title. They were putting this game at the front of all their big shows. They were talking it up every time, just drawing tons of attention to it, and talking about it's like, oh, it's an independent studio. They have the backing of Sony. Like, they made it sound like it was a AAA development. They made it sound like they were shoveling all this money into it to make it this incredible, like, amazing experience. And then it's not. It's an indie game. And now Shuhei Yoshida's like, wow, Hello Games, you guys really messed up. Like, what the crap is this?
What? Yeah, not cool, Sony.
But don't worry, Yoshida's looking forward to continuing to play the game.
Way to stand by your studios.
Seriously.
That was really great of you.
This is just like, oh, people are upset about No Man's Sky. I mean, it made us a lot of money, but it's a big, like, PR disaster, because it really was. It's just throw them under the bus.
Yeah, just throw them right under the bus. Because we probably won't have to work with them again.
Nah.
I mean, at least not for a couple of years.
I feel terrible for Hello Games. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when they announce their next project?
Oh.
Like, whatever it ends up being.
They're going to be labeled as another Peter Molyneux.
Yeah.
But they won't be. They're not. They're not him.
They're not Peter
They're
Molyneux.
so much better than him.
Nobody is Peter Molyneux except for him.
Except for him. He he's even gotten criticism that he didn't deserve.
He made Lion cool.
But he also like got a lot of criticism he did deserve.
That's why they call him Big Pete the Lion.
I don't think anyone calls him. I don't even think we call him that.
I just did. You heard it here first. It's gonna stick. Mark my words.
Sean Murray did not go on to Late Night with Stephen Colbert and say that you could plant a tree and watch it grow. Okay?
For Christ's sake.
He didn't do it. So you cannot put that on him, okay?
No. Don't wish that evil on Sean Murray. He did fine. Let's get back to TGS news.
Oh, TGS.
Kingdom Hearts got a trailer for the new one.
Wow.
2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
I saw some...
No, excuse me. It's not 2. Okay, wait, no. Okay, it's the... For Christ's sake, this is so confusing. So, the trailer shows off stuff from Kingdom Hearts X brackets Chi back cover, which is included in 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
Okay.
Alongside Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage.
Yep.
I don't want to play video games anymore. They're ruining it for me.
It's really funny that, like, some of the worst naming conventions come out of a game that is half JRPG and half Disney. Because you'd think it would just be full JRPG. And there's some bad JRPG titles. We make fun of them pretty frequently on this show. Oh,
absolutely. Or fighting games.
Or fighting game titles.
Under Night in Birth, EXE late.
But, like, this is just as bad as any of those.
I think it's worse. Because, like, Under Night in Birth is, like, fun nonsensical, kind of. But this is, like... game studio annoying crap. Endless sequels with new things going.
Well, it's also interesting because since Disney is involved, you'd think that someone from Disney would just be like, you guys, these naming conventions suck. Just name your game something that makes sense.
So I want to point out my favorite thing about this trailer, because I watched it. I assume you haven't.
I have not.
Until just now.
If you're watching our live stream, we're playing it. Yeah.
So the thing that I want to mention about this trailer the most is the fact that it introduces us to yet another group of mysterious robed figures. Which is what, like the 14th of these in Kingdom Hearts? But this time they have animal masks!
The 2.8th group of mysterious robed
because we already had the organization, and then like the other guy organization, and now we have then we had those mysterious kids in the last trailer who aren't in this trailer. No, that was a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, that's why.
Oh, okay.
There's those mysterious kids playing chess and talking about anime trope crap.
Yep.
And now we have these guys! I'm pointing at the Unicorn Man.
Oh, God, that costume
look at these dumbass costumes! They look so stupid. Why do we need more?
Just...
And they're talking to the dudes from the organization with the black coats, and stop it.
Just stop
it. Just put it. That looks cool.
Yeah.
But just put out Kingdom Hearts 3 already, for fuck's sake. Just end it.
Just end it.
Like, just please take this franchise out back and just shoot it in the head. I feel bad saying this too because the games play well. Like, they're good games. Mm-hmm. But the story of these games is like the definition of nonsensical roundabout nonsense. Nonsensical nonsense.
Exactly.
It's just a bunch of stuff just crammed together. It's just anime tropes and like melodrama and people in weird costumes. And key swords. And one guy named Ansem, who's half the characters in the series.
But Dan, how do you really feel about it?
Mad. They should have just put out 3 after 2. How many games have come out since 2? So many!
And they could have...
Just end it. My God. This reaction man's face makes me mad. Yeah. There's nothing in there worth being excited about.
I think it's funny that there's still this like very core fan base for this game that will get huge. Excited over whatever without really having any kind of reasonable reaction to the content. They're just like, oh my God, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I love it.
I feel like I could go to like the Kingdom Hearts wiki and read a plot synopsis that actually like sums it all up, because somebody must have figured out how this all fits together.
I'm sure somebody did.
But I don't care.
People have written books on the end of Evangelion. I'm sure someone's figured out.
Oh, the end of Evangelion deserves it.
That's true.
Masterpiece.
Dude, even in FLCL they talk about the end of Evangelion.
Of course they do. It's important.
It is important.
If you haven't watched End of Evangelion, go watch it. You don't even really need to watch the TV series. Just watch it.
If you haven't watched End of Evangelion, go watch FLCL. They'll probably explain it just as well.
It's fine. We also got a cool trailer for Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Oh yeah, start playing that. Turn off that audio. So, this, I'm going to say something controversial here.
Say it.
I really didn't like this trailer very much.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I'm actually in complete agreement with you.
A lot of people online are going crazy over how great this trailer is.
This is actually the first thing they've shown for Resident Evil 7 that I'm not crazy about.
The only thing I really liked is this opening shot.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So there's an opening shot that's, I guess it's game graphics, but it looks like a movie.
It's gotta be like CGI. I doubt it's in-engine.
Yeah, but
that's in-engine.
Yeah.
But
the opening shot of like a car driving down a road is really,
it's beautiful,
cinematic quality, super super nice.
Yeah.
And then
that's cool.
Yeah, and there's some voiceover work that's like a little hammed up. But overall,
Resident Evil and voice acting go hand in hand.
True. So
since the very beginning.
So it's this woman talking about how she lied to the guy who's the main character,
and
how she's so sorry, and she sounds very distressed. And then you see us going to this sort
of PT. We get PT happening, and then a man walks through a wall with a shovel.
Okay, yeah. So he goes to this mansion. He's exploring it. Guy walks through a wall with a shovel, and then beats him with the shovel. Weird thing is, why did he just walk through the wall?
Yeah, it looked kind of weird, because it almost looked like he melted out of the wall, but he smashed through it with a shovel. So it turns into this thing, it was like, this guy's chasing you around the place. We saw stuff like that in the last trailer, where you're like walking through this area trying to avoid the people who are here, and it's like, oh my God, this guy's like a biohazard. Or something. But then it turns into, and the thing that I really don't like is when it turns into this part that we just got to, where it's like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre creepy inbred family cannibal dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, come on.
Yeah, you
just made this into freaking Outlast 2.
Oh, yeah, man.
Like, it's just Outlast now.
But seriously, like, it's not... You could be more creative than this.
You could be a lot more creative than this. Also, this seemed to me... Like, that's so dumb. I don't like it. I think it's trying way too hard, just like Outlast does, to be, like, edgy and, like, whoa, it's so crazy scary, oh, the guy's gonna feed you stuff! And it's also... They said this game's gonna support VR. And this scene screams to me as like, whoa, look at our VR. It's like the scene when you see a 3D movie where someone throws something at the camera.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to go like, oh my god. Like, but that's what this scene is. Where he's like feeding the player like people pieces. And it's dumb.
I really like that they have hot sauce on the table. Like, the table is just all of these, like, rotten people pieces.
And then it shows the girl from The Ring.
Yeah, and it shows the girl from The Ring. All these rotten people pieces, and then, like, and plates.
Yeah.
And then, like, a bottle of hot sauce.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, you gotta have that sriracha.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Makes a lot of
everything.
We got a date.
They got a date, January 24th, 2017. I'm bummed, though, because up until this trailer, I was really looking forward to this game, and now, like, the second half of this trailer has made me not so sure. Because I don't... I've said it before on the show that I don't like Outlast. I don't think Outlast is scary. I think it's cheap, and I think it's forced and just poorly done. I think it'd be a lot better. And seeing this trailer turn into Outlast before my eyes really bummed me out.
Yeah.
Like, in a big way. And I'm sure there's lots of people... I know there's lots of people who love Outlast. And if you do, great. And if you like the way this trailer looks, that's terrific. All I'm saying here is I no longer am sure that this game's for me.
Not my Resident Evil.
Hashtag not my Resident Evil. Hashtag just Outlast things.
Just Outlast.
And that's all I'm getting at, I guess. Because otherwise, graphically, game looks good. Like, setting-wise, it looks like they've nailed it. They've got their tone set up. They've got a good atmosphere going on. Like you said, there's some really excellent cinematography and, like, framing of shots going on as well. And the VR will probably be pretty cool. But, I'm not so sure. And there's guns. They confirmed before this trailer, actually, that there are going to be guns and weapons and stuff, including, like, a flamethrower and junk. So it's not just a pure, like, walk around and get spooked thing.
What we also learned from this trailer is that this evil family seems to be indestructible.
At least, yeah. I mean, I guess they all are. Because the younger guy gets his arm all cut up, and he seems like he doesn't really care that much.
Yeah, they all look similarly diseased.
Yeah.
So, how much of a use are those guns going to be?
Yeah, it's probably some new thing, like, they're going to bring in of, like, oh, it's another place where they were testing one of their viruses or something. And it didn't make them into zombies, but it made them super resilient and crazy. I guess. I feel like I remember them saying there's going to be more environments than just this one area, too. Like this House Woods area. But I could be making that up.
Yeah, I mean, that would be weird to me since it seems like the game is being set up to just take place there.
But that's not a very large area for a whole game to take place in.
No, not really. Unless
it's very short.
Yeah.
But we'll see, I suppose. Berserk. We talked about this Berserk game very briefly when it got announced. Koei Tecmo is making a Berserk Musou game. For anyone who doesn't know what a Musou game is, it's Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
So Musou games have a long track record of them getting amazing IPs and then making Musou games of them. And everyone gets really hyped because they like that IP, and everyone who's hyped buys the game and realizes it's a boring Musou game. This pattern was broken with the Attack on Titan game that just came out, actually, which is also a Musou game that's technically, like, by Koei Tecmo, that's, like, it's technically a Musou game, but it plays differently because you play as the little crappy people and you have to kill Titans. So it's kind of a flip where you're going after the big scary thing.
They reversed it.
Also, that game has, like, Spider-Man 2 quality, like, ziplining around.
Good.
Cities with, like, the 3D maneuver gear, and it looks amazing. Everyone says the game's kind of junk food because it's just sort of, like, you do what you just go kill Titans.
Yeah.
That's all you do. But people say it's, like, wicked fun.
Nice.
Like, it's really fun to do. So that game kind of broke the chain. They got a good IP, and they made, like... I think they were forced to do more different with it, which is part of it. They were forced to develop new game mechanics to utilize with it, and that ended up just making them get more creative and make a more interesting title.
Now I want to play Spider-Man 2 again.
Right?
I'm sure that probably hasn't aged well.
No, that web swinging's still good.
I mean, the web swinging is still good, but I feel like a lot of the other stuff in the game probably hasn't aged well.
But that web swinging...
That's so satisfying
It's really
to play,
good.
yeah.
But watching videos of that Attack on Titan game, like, oh, it looks... You go so fast. It looks so cool. But they're making a Berserk Musou game, so it's another thing of, like, I love Berserk. Do I love Musou games? Hell no.
Hell no.
But every time I see something for this game, I still get kinda excited. And I hate it. But this game's coming out in the West. Oh no, that scene's not appropriate for TV. February 21st, 2017. Which people didn't know if it was going to come out in the West or not, but it is. And it's being titled Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the main character of Berserk is named Guts. His name is not Berserk. But I think this title's delightful because it just makes me think of all those jokes when people say that their favorite character in Halo is Halo or something.
Halo Man.
I like Berserk the most. He's the coolest guy in Berserk. Berserk's my favorite character. They show off a bunch of the characters you can play as in this trailer. Pretty much all the important people. They ripped 2 hours, approximately, of footage from, like, the animated movies that came out a few years ago. Which is fine. Like, that's alright. To just do that for cutscenes and stuff. This trailer also showed my favorite character, so I was very excited. Hopefully he'll be playable in it. Where's that guy at? He's gonna come up. He's gonna come up in a second. Zod's cool. Where's my boy? But this game, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be a little different from the regular Musou, but I'm not really counting on it because they can just do the normal thing with it, where you're a guy and you kill lots of crappy guys. Especially since you can play as, like, the big demon dudes. Like that guy. Yeah! Skeleton Knight!
Oh, that's
He's the
sweet.
hypest. He's so cool. He's a good guy, too.
Oh, really?
That's the best part. He's a spooky Skeleton Knight, but he's, like, the biggest bro.
Nice. I mean, he does just look like a Skeleton Knight.
Yeah, no, he's very well named. So Band of the Hawk refers to a group of fighters that the hero was a part of for a while. Guts was in it, but people aren't really sure why they changed the name, because it's just called Berserk Musou in Japan. But they think maybe it's so people will be sure to recognize it in the United States. Like, no, look, it's that Berserk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Band of the Hawk.
Why would you not?
Look at it.
Okay.
Go get it. So that's coming out in February. Nier Automata got a new trailer and a release date. It is also coming out February 2nd, in February on the 2nd, 2017. This game I'm super excited about. The new trailer alludes to some story stuff. When I watched it, it did not have subtitles and it was all in Japanese, so I only got, like, snippets. But it just, like, cuts between this, like, loading screen and then some very brief, like, cutscene clips. And characters talking. So very little gameplay, but that's fine because everything they've shown prior to this was all gameplay. They gotta get the weird story in there, because it's gonna be weird. I'm psyched for this game, though, especially after reading how excited Platinum Games was to work on it. I was reading stuff about it, and apparently the people at Platinum approached Yoko Taro about doing the gameplay for it. And he, as the director of all these games, Drakengard and Nier and all that, was kind of hesitant because he doesn't like giving control of stuff to other people. He's very much an auteur and very picky about these games.
Yeah.
But once he saw how earnest they were about making this a Nier game, and still letting him have control over all that stuff, he was really excited. Because they were like, no, we want to make a Nier game. We're not trying to make a Platinum game with the Nier title slapped on it. We want to make the game the way you want it.
Platinum are just a bunch of good bros.
They are a bunch of good bros. They're the best.
They're just a whole bunch of skeleton
When
knights.
we finally do that wonderful 101 stream, I've got information and fun facts, and it's going to be great. I'm prepping for that. Started playing the game again. Ooh. Trying to 100% it. 101% it. I'm almost there, actually. Because I never did it back in the day, and I decided I should just do it because I love it so much. But we'll get to that. I have plenty of stories about Platinum being bros. To pepper throughout that playthrough. Neo is also coming out in February 2017. This game's been in development for like a decade.
Okay, so that's interesting because we've been talking about it for a little while, but not that long. We've talked about it for like, I don't know, 6 months to a year, maybe?
When people say it's been in development for a decade, they mean like very early stages of development. this game briefly turned into something more substantial several years ago and then kind of fell off the radar and has only very recently resurfaced as something like worth looking at, basically. And they've done these 2 demos that you could play that were like a beta test where they took feedback from to alter the game. And now that the second one, I believe, has wrapped up, game is finally going to be due for release on February 9th, 2017. Koei Tecmo's putting this out as well, just like all their Musou games. However, playing this game, it has a very Souls game kind of feel to it, and it feels like a AAA game in just about every way, which is not really Koei Tecmo's MO most of the time. So seeing them putting so much effort into this is really cool, and I hope that it pays off for them. Because if this game does well, they'll probably try and make more stuff like it, and from what I've briefly played and what I've seen played of this game, it's really good.
Nice.
Like, it's super, super well put together and interesting, and like it plays well, looks great. Like it's like, I say good for them because they need a hit like this, because they've just kind of been one of those studios that's been around for a very long time and has no problem staying around, but they just kind of plod along putting out like video games, like Dynasty Warriors. So seeing them really try and put out this like a real winner, a contender, is pretty cool. And it's definitely been somewhat shaped by the Souls games, but not at all in a bad way. It's absolutely derivative of them, but it's not bad. Being derivative of the Souls games just probably means you're making a good video game.
Also, like, it's not a game type that has a lot of games that are super derivative of it, because those Souls games are notoriously difficult to play.
So it's difficult to develop properly, I'd imagine. So you need to know a lot about level design and gameplay balance and things like that.
So there isn't like a huge mass market of people who just want to buy them.
Right.
So still more of a niche. So yeah, I think it's a cool thing.
If they market this as like Samurai Souls and just tell people it's like Dark Souls, it's gonna sell. People will buy it. Scratch that itch. Although we do have Ashes of Ariandel coming out in October. The DLC.
I was going to say, is that DLC. So, man.
So Neo's coming. We got Final Fantasy 15. It's got a new trailer for Tokyo Game Show. This is like a 4-minute trailer, so I'm going to skip around a little bit. So it shows some characters. It shows a bunch of cutscenes.
As we expected, they look super pretty because it's Final Fantasy.
It's great. The gist of the story is in there of like, you play as the prince, and he gets sent away to pal around with his bros on a road trip, and then everything goes terrible back at home, and his dad is dead, and he doesn't know what happened to his sister.
And Cindy is too sexy.
And then he has to angst his way into rulership. Because that's literally what this trailer is. It's him, like, angsting super hard, and everybody else telling him to sack up. So from that snapshot, it's kind of, like, irritating, actually. Because he's, like, a really obnoxious main character.
Does anyone tell him to just get in the mecha?
No. They don't. But there's some flashbacks to him talking, and one of his bodyguard dudes is like, yo, bro, you suck. And he's like, meh. But, so, it looks like it is what it is. It's nice to finally see a lot of story cutscenes, because they've been kind of shying away from showing a lot of that lately. So we know that's all in there. But then you get this crap, where the guy walks up with his Whole Foods bag, and they all sit in lawn chairs and eat cup ramen around a bonfire. When all this fantasy crap is happening.
They go in their car, they go on their boat.
There's an earlier scene, and they go in their jet car. Oh my god.
Forgot they had a jet car. But then it cuts to a scene where they're like outside of a fantasy palace and a wizard man is talking to them.
Yeah, and where's the shot of them talking to this guy? Who's this guy? Look at armored paladin man.
Yeah, there's just a point where they're talking to a paladin, and again, there's this weird cognitive dissonance because they're all wearing like leather jackets and stuff, and they're talking to this dude wearing like white fantasy armor.
Yeah, it's like a character from Devil May Cry 4 or something. Like, it's so ridiculous. And for a game that's clearly trying to play its story straight, it just feels weird.
It feels really weird.
I don't like it. It like really bugs me. And I don't know if it's like their attempt to modernize Final Fantasy or something in some weird way, but it didn't quite come together. Or it's a symptom of the dev team being so split on a lot of things.
I think it's probably that. There have been lots and lots of stories we've reported on in the past where during this dev cycle they've people have come and gone, and there's been all these different sort of thought processes as to how the game is going to be made and stuff, and it's gonna be a mess. Final Fantasy 15 is gonna be a mess. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, it looks good, visually speaking.
Visually it's great. Yeah. But I never assumed that.
Yeah.
Like, was it Square Enix is making this, right?
Yeah.
Square Enix was gonna do a visually bad game.
Fair point. Let's rush through these next couple. Apparently, the producer of Monster Hunter, Ryozo Sugimoto, when talking about Monster Hunter stories, said that there is going to be a Hollywood adaptation of Monster Hunter.
The story broke yesterday on the 15th. Oh my gosh.
This is ridiculous. Danny DeVito for the main feline?
Please.
It's not stories related, which I think is a good thing, because that means it'll be related to regular Monster Hunter, which I'm much more interested to see them do something with. Because stories is like a JRPG.
Oh, okay.
I want to know. I'm really cautiously... I guess I'm not cautiously optimistic. I'm just curious. Like, what will this even look like? What will this even be? Especially since it's a Hollywood adaptation.
Yeah, they're gonna Dragon Ball Z Evolution this up real hard.
Oh no.
You know they are.
Oh boy.
Maybe it'll have a cast entirely of Caucasian people.
I bet it will.
It probably will.
Pokemon Sun and Moon. We talked last week about how Ultra Beasts were added as a thing.
Oh, man.
They're not Pokemon. Oh. They're some other weird thing.
Yeah, we were saying that.
Yeah, we saw UB01, which was question mark.
The jellyfish thing. Yeah.
2 more Ultra Beasts have been shown, both of which are UB02. Both of them are.
Oh my god.
This is interesting because they're version exclusive. Pokemon Sun gets UB02 Absorption, which is this buff dude here.
Oh,
this guy lifts.
What a beefcake.
He's like a big beefy like mosquito man. So he's pretty cool. And then Moon gets UB02 Beauty, which is this freaky silverfish lady. And now someone has noticed that this one, there's some design similarities between these Ultra Beasts and some of the human characters in this game. The leader of like the Good Research Society kind of looks like UB02 Beauty here. And a lot of people are speculating that maybe the Ultra Beasts are weird because they're people who turn into monsters. Or they are space alien people of some kind. And these are their true forms. Obviously, we probably won't. Right?
So this news broke on the 14th.
Yes.
Zoom that in a little bit. We're citing an article from Engadget. But basically what has happened is Valve has put this new thing in place where if you have gotten a game through a free like Steam key, you cannot review it. Or you can review it, your review won't count toward its total score.
It's kind of interesting.
It's apparently because, and I think we've reported on stuff like this happening in the past, where studios will give out a bunch of free game keys.
Right.
With the exchange being like, oh, well, we'll give you this game for free if you review it positively.
Right.
And Steam's like, that's not cool, man. You're messing with the system. So they put this in place. But a lot of indie devs are now very, very upset because those indie devs are like, hey,
we rely on these reviews from giving out free keys.
Because like they don't have a PR department. They don't got Sony behind them.
Around. Yeah, they give out free keys for the game,
and then they're hoping
they don't have Hello Games and their amazing PR marketing.
So they give out free copies of the games. They hope that people like it, and then word of mouth spreads their game's popularity.
Yes.
And this has pretty much eliminated that avenue for them. So it's potentially going to hurt a lot of indie devs, which is a bummer because indie devs usually go to Steam, Greenlight, and stuff like that.
Valve has said, like all updates, we should do our games and services, so they'll be monitoring the community reaction, incorporating that feedback into the next set of changes we make, yada, yada, yada. Just like when they did paid mods. So do you think this is going to be rescinded like that?
No.
Because the response hasn't been as entirely negative.
Well, it's because when they did paid mods, the negative response was from everybody using Steam.
Yes.
Whereas this, it's just all of the indie devs that use Steam,
right,
which don't generate enough money for Valve to care about them.
Right.
which is sad, but I think probably true.
You're probably not wrong.
So I think
perhaps there is some chance that they will work out some sort of deal with
hopefully
indie studios.
Like Valve is not always super unreasonable. There are certain companies like EA that are always super unreasonable.
Valve can be.
They can be reasonable
about stuff too sometimes.
Yeah, the Valve is a little more of a mixed bag there. So hopefully things can get worked out, and they will listen to the indie devs and find some sort of workaround for this. I also had read something, and I don't know if it mentions it in this article, and I can't remember where I read it, so this might not be true, but that Valve would just one day decide, hey, this is our new thing, we're initiating it now, with no forewarning whatsoever. So, again, made the indie devs more upset, because they're like, wait, no, I didn't have time to prepare.
Speaking of Steam, we've got a story from our favorite idiots.
Oh my
Digital
god.
Homicide. Digital Homicide, makers of Slaughtering Ground, an amazing video game that you can play on Steam, which was slammed super hard by one Jim Sterling, which led to a savage, pissing contest argument of some kind.
Internet war between Jim Sterling and the dudes at Digital Homicide.
The Ramine brothers, the guys behind the company.
Yep.
That has now culminated with a video, or with a lawsuit that Digital Homicide has filed, another frivolous lawsuit that Digital Homicide has filed, against...
Yeah, because they ended up suing Jim Sterling for $10 million for slander.
And, personal damages.
Yeah, that hasn't gone anywhere. It may still go somewhere because the court systems move slowly. It's still a little too early to know, but it's probably not going anywhere.
But now they're going to sue Steam users.
Yes. So apparently, basing off their same logic that they used when they sued Jim Sterling, if you say something bad about their game that could potentially hurt their sales, then you have defamed them and you have caused assault to their company, and so you can be sued. So
they subpoenaed Valve to try and get the company to reveal personal details behind the users who are leaving negative reviews of their game. Which is no.
Yeah, because in their lawsuit, the lawsuit's hilarious to read because it says, when it lists the people that they're suing, it lists their Steam tags instead of their real names, because they don't have their real names, but it's just really funny to see all these people's Steam tags in a lawsuit.
Now, James Ramine is also looking for $18 million in restitution for personal injury.
What?
Yeah.
So this is... Okay.
It's all that money he would have made if people just realized Slaughtering Ground was a masterpiece.
Oh my god.
Get it?
Okay, I don't understand why Digital Homicide doesn't understand this. But
why are they so stuck on their crappy game?
But if people don't like your stuff, they have the right to say they don't like your stuff.
But no, they don't.
So the other thing is, my assumption here is that their thought process is that because they make all these shovelware games that suck,
have they made more than just Slaughtering Ground?
Oh, they made a bunch of games.
Oh, okay, I didn't even know.
And most of them are just reskinned versions of the same game.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. So, and they there was something saying that in April they released 3 games, and they were all just the same weird. That thing where you shoot at a bunch of things that are coming down the screen. I forget what that game is called.
Like a Tetris Attack?
Something like that, yeah.
No, that's not what it is, but I know.
Yeah, the classic arcade game.
Like a brick break thing.
Whatever. So they released, it's that gameplay. So it's gameplay that's highly derivative of a classic arcade game with 3 different skins on it, just released in 1 month. So, yeah, they're not the greatest. But they, I think their thought process is that they can make a bunch of money in lawsuits. And there are companies that do that. There are giant mega companies. We reported on British Telecom and how they like to do that a couple weeks ago. But no, they haven't. You actually have to win the lawsuits to get money.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, all you're doing is throwing away your money. But you know what? It's not all their money. Because they've got a GoFundMe page.
Oh, you brought it up again.
You gotta Google that real quick. Just Google the Digital Homicide GoFundMe, because I want it up on the screen for a moment.
Search Google for Digital Homicide. And then we go to GoFundMe.
So we reported on this a while ago.
Woo!
No,
$425!
This is the same number it was at before.
Is
the
it?
last time, because that was 4 months ago that it last got that, and we definitely talked about it more recently.
Got that big $200 boost 4 months
yeah,
ago.
basically they were sitting at $200 for the longest time, and then somebody gave them $200, so they got to $425. But yeah, so this has been up for 6 months, and it hasn't been donated to in 4 months.
Oh no!
So I don't think it's gonna work out, especially since their goal is 75K.
Yeah,
I don't think they're making it to
That's a lot of
75K.
money.
Oh, I'll also point out 11 people.
Whopping 11 people.
Which has got to just be family members. Like, there's
It has
close
to be.
friends and family members. It's all...
Maybe one weird random person from the internet.
Oh, yeah. Somebody definitely donated, like, $5 for the lulz. That definitely happened.
Or maybe they just actually like slaughtering.
I don't think that's true.
So our final story, we're going to run a little bit over, but this one I feel like is important enough that we should still take a couple minutes on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is Mr. Chris Metzen, who I feel like most people who played any Blizzard games in the last 20 years have probably at least seen the name of.
Or the artwork.
Or the artwork of.
Yeah.
Or read some of the writing of.
Yeah.
Etc., etc. Metzen is a huge deal, or was a huge deal, at Blizzard Entertainment, but he is retiring.
He's retiring.
He's retiring from game development.
At middle age, to the ripe old age of middle age.
Yep. And he looks great.
He does look great.
He looks super handsome.
He's got perfect, like, salt and pepper hair.
Oh, yeah.
He's got salt and pepper beard, but he's
got
also...
a little bit about that smolder going on in his
Oh,
eyes.
yeah. The only thing I don't like is that he wears earrings.
I'm not crazy about the earrings.
It didn't look good in the 90s. It doesn't look good now.
So this Polygon article I have up here from the 14th is a big, like, retrospective that this author wrote about Metzen and his legacy in Blizzard and how this person feels personally about it. We're not going to go over the whole thing, but I think, Lex, you and I probably have feelings about this. What are your feelings about this?
This article actually sums up a lot of my feelings pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, so Metzen, he's a bit of a mixed bag, I'd say.
Definitely.
He's the guy that, like, when I was 12 and playing StarCraft 1 and I was playing Diablo and Diablo 2, Warcraft 2, I was like, oh my god, whoever's writing these games is
They're
visionary.
a visionary genius.
Yes.
They're so good at writing. Who could ever top this?
And then,
Shakespeare, get out of my face. Fucking Zeratul is talking.
yeah. and then Warcraft 3 came out and I was like, I don't know.
It had its moments.
Yeah, it had its moments. And then some
of it's not so good.
Yeah, and then a lot of the stuff that happened in WoW,
questionable.
Lots of people got corrupted.
Lots of corruption. He really likes redemption and corruption stories.
Oh my god, he loves them.
Like a lot.
And then
StarCraft.
And then StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Actually, StarCraft 2, I think I liked the plot a lot more than some of the other stuff that was going on. Overwatch, I can't speak to much of the plot elements of that.
The plot elements of that are spotty because you get it a lot through just like the supplemental things, but
although
it's solid.
Those videos, I mean, we learned robots could have PTSD.
Yeah.
That was pretty moving.
I think Overwatch's storytelling and writing is actually very good.
So,
in general.
So he makes really fun... just like fun stories, but not particularly thought-provoking.
And his artwork has that similar feel to it, where it's not necessarily like the greatest artwork you've ever seen, but it has this charm to it. It has this wild, like, comic booky, fantastical feel to it. When you look through the old, like, manuals for Warcraft 2 and StarCraft and look at his art, and you always know it's his art because his name's in all of it. And I remember as a kid looking at the art in those books and being like, oh, Metzen, I wonder who that is, when I was little.
Yep.
Like, it has a very unique look to it that I like. A lot of it's kind of rough looking, especially the older stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
It has this really cool feel to it that really defined Blizzard for me as a kid, is that whole look. Probably derivative somewhat of Warhammer and Warhammer 40k.
Yeah, there's certainly... He didn't come up with great original ideas.
But he knew how to populate a setting.
Yeah.
Stories and people.
And
ideas.
He has really good taste.
Yes.
And he wants to reference stuff that's really cool. Even though that reference is just hitting you over the head, it's so obvious.
But it's fine.
But it's a cool reference,
and the
so
presentation
it's okay.
is usually done pretty well.
Like in StarCraft 1, so many freaking alien references in that game.
Oh, it's absurd.
There's like a cutscene that's basically just a scene out of Aliens.
But it's presented well.
Yeah, no, it's really fun because he's referencing something that's awesome.
Yeah.
And in video games, there wasn't, especially at the time that came out, there wasn't that kind of cool stuff going on.
What was it, 1997?
I think
StarCraft 1 came out? Yeah. So, and you look at, like, even his touch was felt in, like, Diablo 1 and stuff. And I love Diablo 1.
Actually, well,
I think Diablo 1's a freaking masterpiece.
Diablo 1's great. Diablo 2's narrative, I think, is amazing. And I've talked about that on the show before.
Actually. Of all the Blizzard games, Diablo 2's narrative is one of the most solid overall.
Oh, yeah.
I would say. It's a pretty compelling story that follows interestingly from Diablo 1.
And it's told from a cool perspective.
Absolutely. The way the cutscenes are from the perspective of just that guy who was following the Wanderer around.
And that's also
and gets
seems...
wound up in everything.
That also seems less derivative than any of the other Blizzard stuff.
Yes. Well, I love that you're playing through the game, but what you're seeing in the cutscenes between acts isn't your story.
No.
It's the story of this guy who came before you and flubbed it all up.
He messed it up.
It's great. It's really cool.
Tyrael told him to do it and he didn't do it.
Tyrael told him to do it!
And he messed it up.
Why don't you listen to Tyrael?
That's why Tyrell's such a jerk to you in that game. Because he's
means
like,
well.
I already tried this.
God damn it.
You better not mess it up.
Speaking of cool designs, Tyrael looks awesome. Tyrael's like one of my favorite angel designs in anything.
A lot of the character designs, especially in Diablo 2, are fantastic.
They're so good.
I think it kind of went downhill in Diablo 3 because it got a little too over the top with a lot of stuff.
Also, it didn't feel as unique in a lot of ways in Diablo 3.
Yeah, because in Diablo 1 it's just like, oh, this is Nightman and he's fighting a devil guy.
Yeah.
But in Diablo 2 there's like all these cool ways they've expanded on the world.
Yeah, you have like the Arabian setting for Act 2 and the jungle for Act 3. Mm-hmm. Like that adds this totally different vibe to everything that they really followed through on.
Yeah.
But anyway, we could talk about this for a long time. The point is, Metzen, like this article says, may not have been perfect. That is what he does. But he had a definite, extreme passion for what he did.
He was a great, like, blockbuster movie director.
Yeah.
Kind of feel.
And his presence will definitely be missed.
Oh, definitely.
Blizzard.
I'm really interested to see which direction they go now that he's not going to be around.
Yeah, like, will the next things they put out have a decidedly, like, feel like something is different?
Or are they going to mess it all up?
Yeah.
They're probably going to mess it all up.
They're going to mess it all up. So, fare thee well, Chris Metzen.
Oh, you know why he's retiring, too?
I hope he enjoys his retirement.
He's not going to start his own studio or work at a different place. He's just going to hang out with his family.
Cool.
That was like the press conference he gave about it.
Great.
He was just like, I love my family and I have the ability to retire and just spend all my time with them and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He retired off a job that he loved. And now he just gets to enjoy the rest of his life.
Great guy.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. What games just came out? Persona 5 just came out yesterday in Japan.
Oh my god.
I need to avoid the internet.
We're on the internet now, Jeff!
I'm gonna get spoiled! So Persona 5 came out. Dragon Quest 7 comes out today on the 3DS. The Bioshock collection also came out yesterday.
Oh.
I've heard on the PC that the remastered versions of 1 and 2 are not so great.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
They have a lot of glitches and problems. They're not really worth it. Batman Telltale Episode 2 comes out on the 20th, along with NBA 2K17.
Yeah!
And SMT4 Apocalypse. Shin Megami Tensei 4, for anyone who doesn't know the abbreviation, which is supposed to be really cool. On the 21st, Firewatch comes to Xbox One. And next Friday, Warhammer 40k, The Eternal Crusade, comes out on PC.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing that was being made.
Yeah. It's a science fiction, massively multiplayer online third-person shooter.
I was watching some gameplay from that. It looks interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, so thank you for listening / watching the show.
Yeah.
We have been Don't Copy That Floppy, a weekly video game news podcast, broadcasting live on www.chipit.net. Also, www.twitch.tv/DCTF podcast.
And you can find us on all our other social media. Some of it's down at the bottom of the screen on Twitch. And it's all linked to each other. The more important thing we should talk about right now is tomorrow night.
Oh, man.
Because we gotta plug this.
Get shmupped.
Get shmupped. Come hang out with us and get shmupped up.
So we'll be playing a bunch of shmups, which for those who don't know, for all you filthy casuals out there,
shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up. They are a type of arcade game that was wildly popular.
You have to have all seen
I mean, they're Galaga.
Galaga,
the first big one.
Space Invaders is technically a shmup, kind of, too.
Sort of. That's the game I was trying to think of earlier.
Space Invaders?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's a Space Invader style thing. But, like, 1942... You got all these games where you're a little spaceship or a plane or something.
Zooping
it's
around.
A scrolling screen and you shoot stuff.
Yeah.
And you get power-ups. They're great.
It's fantastic.
So we thought it'd be a nice, fun first thing to do for like a game stream on our channel. So it's tomorrow night, 8 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. We are streaming live on our Twitch channel. We're also going to be hosted by some of our friends who are on Twitch, such as Binary Brandon.
Yeah.
Which you should check out his channel, too. He does a lot of Dota, too.
And he's been kind enough to host us tomorrow night, he said, which is fantastic. And we're really excited about it.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
We've got everything pretty much all set up and ready to go.
We got to get snacks.
We've got our list of games already, though.
Oh, they're going to be so good. We
got a good one. We got a good bunch of shmups to play.
Yeah.
There's some real treasures in there. Some classics, some not so classics, and some real curveballs. It'll be fun.
But last thing I want to mention, you can help support our show by going to our Patreon.
Yes.
We are Don't Copy That Floppy on Patreon. You can search us on there. And you can, there are all sorts of different great reward tiers for money you can give each month that will get you things such as the ability to vote on stories every week. We forgot to do our voted story.
Oh my god.
This is a big news. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm sorry, but... we could still talk about it really briefly. There was a really cool video game trailer for a game that's like an Alan Quartermain game.
You sent this to me, right?
I did send it to you. I can tell you what the name of the article is.
Yeah, please tell me the name of the article. I need to ask you about this before we started.
I know,
We're so over time tonight.
There's so much going on. So this is a Kotaku article entitled See the World, Steal Their Shit.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a great game in the vein of the old Indiana Jones adventure games.
Point and click Lucasfilm adventure game.
Yeah.
LucasArts adventure game.
Super fun looking pixel art graphics that look like games of that time. There's a great little trailer that shows... It has some narration from this old guy being like, I used to be an adventurer. These are all the things I did. And it's like you travel around this like hex grid world map and uncover different places. Curious Expedition is the name of the game.
There were dinosaurs there.
And you like meet different like tribes of people and you get different upgrades and stuff when you complete really cool. quests. Oh, it looks so much fun. And there's combat that's very like RPG style, like you roll dice. Yeah, you roll dice. And
there's gorillas.
You deal with animals and stuff. And the farther in you get, the more crazy places you go, and you have to fight like mystical animals or mythical animals. And
very cool.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. So
that's the last thing we're talking about today.
That's definitely the last.
That's it. Look at all that fire.
Oh my god, lava volcanoes.
So I have been Dan.
I have been Lex.
And until next week, remember, don't copy that floppy. Also, watch our stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.